Yeah. Two, four, eight, two, so. Calling to order the October 17th, 2024 meeting of the Historic Resources Commission here in room 204, 111 North Front Street. It's 4:02 p.m. The next business meeting of the commission will be Thursday, November 7th, 2024 at noon in room 205. And the next hearing of the commission will be Thursday, November 21st, 4 p.m., room 204. Both of those meetings here. Swearing in the staff here this evening, and you swear to tell the truth and testimony for
I do check with myself.
you. And introduction of the commissioners present here this evening, starting on my very far right. Matt Leisure.
Megan Sinha,
Why, Henry? Joseph Kagan.
Cynthia Hun.
Mike Ford. Is there any items for public comments?
No items for public forum.
Hearing none, moving on to approval of the staff approvals. Having a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Having a motion and a second, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes. On to approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which is September 19th, 2024.
Moved.
Having a motion, is there a second? Second. Larry, then second. Okay. Having a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes. On to certificates of appropriateness for this evening. Moving on to case number one. That'd be COK 2400347, that's 1088 South Front Street and associated properties. If you can each raise your right hand and approach, so great. You each swear to tell the truth here in testimony before the commission this evening.
Yes, sir.
I do.
You will see your full name and association with the property record.
Gary Houston, landscape designer.
Julie Bullock, project architect.
Okay, this application for various addresses on South Front Street, which was previously reviewed as 70 South Front Street with proposed landscaping. So previously, an application for new construction was approved at the June 20th hearing of this year, as well as various recommendations a bit earlier. At that June 20th hearing, the commission asked that when the applicant comes back, or they come back with the landscape plan, that then included some particulars that landscape plan should include. So the applicant is coming back now with the landscape plan, and they are proposing additional shrubs and perennials as outlined in the submitted site plan. The staff recommendation is to recommend approval of application COA 2400347 at the South Front Street addresses listed in the Brewery District, with any and all clarifications to be submitted to HBO staff for review and approval prior to issuance of a certificate. The basis of that staff recommendation is the City Code 316.13, standards for site improvements, specifically medical.
Having positive is there anything we'd like to add before?
No.
No.
Okay. For members of the commission to have a discussion or ask any questions?
Is it about? Is it about?
Yeah, so just a couple of things. So there's not any trees in the plan, just to clarify that.
No new trees, just the existing.
And then you have a new 6-foot fence in this plan. Is that part of the landscape submitted, or was that one previously approved? Just, that's a question.
I believe it was previously approved, but
Okay.
double check. That's just the screening from the gas station.
Okay.
I believe there's an original chain
Chain
link
link
fence there.
fence.
Any additional comments?
Yeah, the planting that's being chosen has been, it's been in the spots, so.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, the planting that, this Sorry, the fencing that you have chosen is within the normal spec range that we see
Mhm.
typically here. So as well as you not have comments regarding the fencing.
Thank you.
So I'll make a motion to approve the plan as submitted contingent on the fence being previously approved. And that's double check list out.
And if not, I can get that staff approved, I assume.
Yeah, I believe so. Is the commission, would like to, or is the commission comfortable with the fencing? Is this something we want to?
There's an existing wood fence there. It has like a right horizontal top and bottom and then vertical, so it would just match that. I think that's what same.
Staying or painted?
Do you remember?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a bluish
yeah, part of it's blue, part of it's a brown.
brown. It's bluish brown. It's an interesting.
I've seen this, but, so maybe we just wait on that, so there's a motion, I'll second it.
I'd be comfortable with that.
Yeah, as long as staff, yeah, I'm good with
I'm sure it's in pictures somewhere.
Okay, so there's a motion, who's the second?
it.
Second. Okay. So, going further, I guess clarification standpoint, where do we want staff to shake out on this? Do we want staff to approve this? Want staff to investigate this? Sounds like you're just, what do you want?
I'm thinking it's straightforward and staff can look at it and say, okay, there shouldn't be any. Staff can approve it, does any doubt or anything you need for us to bring it back?
Just so we have documentation that that's design in some form or another. So motion.
I'll check.
Okay.
Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstention, motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to, 2400294, that's 530 East Town Street. And here for 530 East Town Street. Okay, we'll come back to that one. On to case number 3601 South High. If you could read it right here. You swear to tell the truth and testimony for efficiency.
I do.
State your full name and associated with the property for record.
Andrew Bauer, part of the company True Leaf.
And Greg Grosby with Vice Miller representing True Leaf.
Okay, this application is for a change of use signage and exterior alterations. So this will be changing use from the residential event center to a cannabis dispensary. The signage proposed is to install a 25 square foot cabinet sign with vinyl graphics at the east and primary elevation, and this would be installed to the mortar joints. They would also be installing external gooseneck lighting with the wall sign cabinet, and this would also be installed in the mortar joints. And they'd be refacing the existing ground sign with non-illuminated vinyl graphics and installing an awning at the west rear elevation. For exterior alterations, so that would be a sign cabinet again. So let's go ahead to staff analysis. So this property includes a 2-story, 3-bay commercial building clad in brick, which is constructed around the 1970s. The property has an existing ground sign, which was approved by the Brewery District Commission in 2016. Painting the masonry and replacement of the asphalt shingle roof with metal was also approved by the Brewery District Commission in 2015. So staff recommends approval of application COA 2400250 at 601 South High Street with the following conditions. And that's just that to confirm that the awning will also be installed via mortar joints with no damage to the masonry. So the staff recommendation is based on the city code 3116.11 standards for alteration, specifically numbers 9, 10, and 12, as well as the standards for sign improvements 3116 and 3, and the guidelines regarding signage, including the short design guidelines regarding signage and generally for ground signs, awnings and canopies, and wall signs.
Is there anything additional before we start?
Yes, as noted, this is a change in use. So the BZA has referred us here not only for the physical changes that we're making, but we have to make a short statement about the use. So it'll take less than a minute.
This will be a recommendation then?
It's No votes required, to my understanding. It's just, we have to make the statement and then,
It doesn't require a variance or anything, or
No.
some change.
no.
Okay.
No, it's just a special permit.
So I'll just give a brief statement about Trulieve. Trulieve is a cannabis company founded out of Florida in 2015. Made our first medical sale in 2016. Since then, we've expanded honestly across the country with hubs in the Southwest, Southeast, and Northeast. Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Florida, kind of our key states, with Ohio expanding. We acquired Harvest of Ohio in May of 2024, and that was kind of how we got our footprint in Ohio. A little bit about the dispensary, just for the record. We're planning, assuming everything goes well, to open Q1 of 2025. Hours of operation will be Monday to Sunday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then just an emergency contact for the location will be Nick Malvando at 304-710-7706. And happy to answer any cannabis questions. There's always cannabis questions.
We'll stay to the historic character.
Which is down for.
No comment on that.
Right, so scope of
Yeah.
work is just our guidelines, our city code.
So,
Sure.
so we're solely really sort of focused today on most of these.
Yeah.
Question about landscaping?
Sure. Just something that's appropriate. Is there any landscape scope in your package, or is it just signage and awning?
No, there's no landscape scope in the package. We tried to make as few changes to the exterior as possible.
Science straight.
Yeah. I was thinking, landscaping might help.
Yeah. They're not changing it, I don't wanna, we don't, even if you say it's new ones. Without your plan.
Yeah.
We have two signs that are next to each other, is that one? So correct?
Yeah, the break there.
Yeah, I mean, typically, we don't allow two signs on the same building. So there's one on the sidewalk. I'm trying to figure out how it's in the, we've done in the past. But I mean, we haven't even had a spot on the building. Question had of me.
I guess one question I have for staff is what guidance we have to follow for this particular district and sign.
So the brewery district, I believe, had also adopted the short design guidelines. Yeah. And then, of course, being now under the purview of HRC, it is still others.
The one that's on the sidewalk there, that's an existing sign that you're changing out.
That's right.
Yes,
Okay, and is that internal to that?
No, it's
I don't
not.
believe so.
It's not internally lit.
How's it lit?
I don't know that it's lit at all.
Yeah, I don't believe it's lit at all.
Okay.
It's the sign on the exterior has the lamps over it.
Right.
So the proposal is to keep it non-illuminated.
With the addition of the exterior.
Yeah.
Right.
We can only talk about signs, so we, so I know you said it before, so two signs that meets the city code.
So it's a little bit odd in that usually that refers to wall signs and projecting signs. And typically ground signs are not encouraged, with some specific exceptions, and especially if it's already existing. So usually the ground sign doesn't come into consideration so much. Now we do have existing ground signs that is permitted, so that could be a consideration. If you do have too much signage, it does not specifically say you cannot approve in the way that it does with wall signs and projecting signs. So I think there's a little wiggle room for discussion.
Yeah, this is the first one that I think has come up exactly like this. So I'm thinking about what precedents are we setting here? Next second, he wants two signs, and he says, wow, but this one's a foot away from the building.
Well, because I'm thinking ground signage doesn't count towards two signs.
Yeah.
But from, which you can take it or leave it, just from a visibility or a design standpoint. Or even effectiveness would not, it's really probably more effective for the wall sign to be on the other side of the building, where the bigger windows are. So it's not like so close to each other on the left side of the door. Just from the front.
I think it's more to the point of kind of labeling the building than anything. Of labeling the like, if you take away that top sign. Oh, okay.
I don't know, whole building, right?
I don't believe we have the whole building as
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah, we only have the right side of the building.
So that's interesting. So with other building, other whatever, what is the end of
I believe it was an old restaurant.
Yeah, I don't believe it's currently being used.
So will there be in the future a signage?
There could be, a ground sign or a sign for each ground floor tenant is.
Owned it, or you're just?
Renting. Renting.
You know, another kind of thought I just had, just crazy idea. Yeah. People doesn't get rid of the moldable or panels or PVC stuff in one sphere. Is, would you ever be amenable to simply scrapping the ground signs?
Yes.
Hence my statement there to soften that. Ground.
I couldn't speak to the landscaping side of it, but if it is either the wall sign or the exit, I think the reason they left that there was because to try to fit with the mold of, it's the existing sign already. And to limit the impact of the change.
This reminds me a little bit of one that we had, also in the chat. They wanted a sign up on top, and then they also had a railing that they wanted to have the name in the railing. We said, no, we can't have the name in the railing, but we did permit them to do a design of like their logo. So, yeah, what I'm really concerned here is what are we going to tell the next people? And they come down, what about if the ground sign, you took the name off and the logo in there as part of the sign? Instead of black with the logo, the ground sign, and then that relates up to your, because I can see you want one on the building.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's not where I see the problem. See the problem.
The duplication.
And somebody else, wants to have a railing now,
Mhm.
there's a bar, and they want their name across that railing. They say to us, well, yeah, this is like a railing. And we want to be consistent with what we've done in the past, so.
I go back to like, you know, if the applicant's willing to just keep the wall sign, they just remove the ground sign instead.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, a jackhammer is always cheaper than, you know, anything else.
Right.
Yeah.
Fill a piece of sidewalk then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would not be against that. I think that the goal was to leave it as is, just to keep with the historic nature of it. So that would be amenable to that. Okay. We would have to get
We would have to
approval.
get
Yeah.
approval. Yeah.
I think so that at the very least, we install a sign on the sidewalks. That would be fine.
Yeah, minimum would just be walls. They're not allowed to.
I'm just saying, if they're able to, and we could vote on just approving the wall sign tonight, we could not approve the monument sign, and we could even approve demolition of the monument sign. And if they can't get demolition of monument sign, just that monument sign, this is the.
That way you pursue also.
Yeah,
Great.
If you get demo, you just get the wall sign for your ground running.
So,
Before I give up, are we cool if that's a?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Sure.
You know,
I cannot believe we let it go without landscaping in the original design, except a sign. So I don't know the right answer here. If the original. It's part of it. no longer there. What's our appropriate behavior?
You need to go back and review, if there was not landscaping required or anything, and that's just the existing condition, I think it would be strong encouragement, but not necessarily requirement then to add
I would feel
additional landscaping.
I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to, that's like this. So if you could go back and look at the old stuff and see what we did find, I wouldn't hold up approval, I would just put a condition on staff of the green landscaping stuff. And hopefully they would consult with an expert on the condition.
Yeah, obviously this is outside of your control, that's their opinion, but the building's pretty stark, you know, meets the streetscape, it would help.
Regulations are all temporary, I think it's just something,
Yeah.
Sure.
we could do that.
So if I'm understanding correctly, the idea would be with respect to landscaping, staff is going to go back, take a look at what was done on the previous approval, and then make a recommendation to, tell us essentially what we need to do in order to get staff approval. It doesn't need to come back in front of this board. Okay.
I'm curious to sign out this application, something for us to return to, these applications that are maybe exceptions to our typical rule. If we're looking at wall sign, another like mining, something that kind of square footage is potentially, we're looking at similar base building. So, I mean, even aside from, this is the wall sign, I know we're already, but I'm just curious how we should go through that. Or this would exceed the 25 square foot that it would take on one base, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, the exception now, all of a sudden, I'm saying,
It is 25%, so the moment they take out the ground sign, they're.
exactly, I know, I'm saying, above and beyond. The next application is that the thing you're looking at, so someone comes and they have 225 square foot signs, just want to make sure that all of a sudden.
And until it's possible, the tenant on the other side will also want a wall sign and a ground sign, and not the side of the ground sign. It's trying to be stopped.
Well, that's just.
Or on the wall there.
Once we're back to the wall sign.
Yeah.
Press.
I think it's also helpful that we're having this discussion too, since it's not specifically, so clear in the guidelines that we're setting the precedent of this is what the commission is comfortable with or not comfortable with. So that'll be taken into account for future applications.
All right, I make motion for CO 824-00.061 South High Street. The motion is to approve the wall sign and the lighting as presented. So that's kind of part A. Part B, the recommendation is for the ground sign, simply not be there.
But we will approve that.
We will approve a demolition. We will recommend and approve a demolition so that there is no need for a sign there at all. But if that, and if there's a change to that, then it needs to come back to us, just the ground sign. If that demolition is all about, which we're going to know. Okay?
Yeah.
Only about the ground sign. And the landscape is, staff is gonna look at it, and if there is any required landscape, Christoph will they reach out to applicant and
Start to look at what's proposed to start with.
and they,
Thank you for you. Okay, motion, is there a second?
Second.
I make a motion, a second. Yeah.
There is also an awning component to this. I just want to make sure that it's just perfectly good with all aspects.
Thank your motion.
yes, so yes. Amending the motion to include the awning as approved.
One question about the awning. I noticed that the approval said that the attachments have to be inside the mortar. Are they able to use the existing holes? Because the previous, the tenant or the previous owner had put holes actually into the brick. Are they able to use those existing holes?
Yeah, if there are existing holes, I would say that it should be documented. So that we know that there are existing holes and we want to make sure that no new holes are created.
We could do that, if we're comfortable with that, we could just submit photos for confirmation to staff.
Yeah. They might even be visible on the photo that we submitted, the existing condition.
Before it goes too far, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yes.
I believe it was around the 1970s, just kind of trying to figure out the date for this. Which is sort but later sort of.
Maybe it's good.
I think so.
Is there any sort of legal stuff?
Maybe what?
Make it look pretty, heard.
Look, the. No, I'm just saying, go into these.
Oh, yeah.
And go through the ones.
Yep.
Great.
Understood.
So, and we then,
Oh, is it, need it all?
yeah.
Yeah, so they're using the holes if you can without making it worse. If you can't do that, then we'll, the other alternative is the fence.
The mortar joints, yep.
Okay, motion presented be amended, if you have a second.
Second.
Okay, Jack, and a second, third, Frank.
Yes, it is.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, abstention, passes.
Thank you very much. Ms. Meisel, will you report to Jamie over at zoning that we made our presentation?
Does Jamie Freeze require a letter or anything?
Nah, just an email is fine. He just wants to know.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jack, I'm going on to case number nine.
So the applicant asked if they could have the application tabled so they can find, or have time to acquire some additional information. I believe they intend to submit their economic hardship, and so they want to have time to submit, the requirements for code.
Okay, and is there a motion to table? Is there a second?
Second.
Having a motion to table any further discussion, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes. On to new applications this evening, which is the first one, will be 62 West Beach Boulevard. Okay, raise your right hand. Please, yeah.
Go stand up.
You guys are written just on the front question this evening.
Yes.
State your full name and association with the property, correct?
Dean Burlon, I'm the architect.
This application for 62 West Beach Boulevard is proposing exterior alterations, particularly for to enclose an existing screen side porch with windows. And those windows now have lentine mullions to match the pattern of the existing house with painted wood panels below, and the windows would fit the existing openings. So this property includes a two-story, revival style home constructed in the 1930s. An arcaded wing wall, a large extension of the front gable wall creates that porch area that currently has the screens, which enclose the openings. So the proposed enclosure will include windows and panels in place of those screens, with the windows to match the style of the diamond lattice windows on the main house. This application was reviewed conceptually at a prior hearing, and it was at the June HRC hearing, in which the commission noted that it looks like the proposed cell height pattern matches, and it looks compatible as if the porch was supposed to be that way. The commission also noted that they can support the application conceptually, and will just need to see the full construction detailing packet when the application comes back for action review. And for example, details on the panel and sill, how that will work against the existing brick, and details on the windows or window package. The commission also asked if the alterations will affect any egress issues with the porch. The applicant clarified that the porch is all screened in currently and that there are no doors presently with the screens, so the porch is already used for interior purposes. So staff recommendation is to recommend approval of application COA 2400311 at 62 West Beach Roll Boulevard in the Old Beach Roll Resort District, with any and all clarifications to be submitted to HPO staff for review and approval prior to issuance of a certificate. The basis for that staff recommendation is the City Code 316.11 standards for alteration, specifically numbers 1, 9, 10, 11, and 12, as well as the guidelines regarding purpose and use.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, just basically trying to keep it as simple as possible. So it's an infill, so it could easily be removed if somebody wanted to make it a screen porch again.
Make a motion for COP 240031, 52 West Eagle Boulevard. Is this?
Motion for a second. Second. Motion second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, abstention?
Thank you.
Before we jump forward, Mr. Trident, to ask this after the staff recommended applications. There's an applicant who has another hearing, I think the zoning or something of that nature, that asked if they could possibly have an application earlier, if it's okay with the commission and the other applicants. And that application is number 10 on the agenda, so that's the 394 East Howe Street application.
This is the applicant here.
Okay, so we're going to skip to item number 10, 394, through that's normally 245. Raise your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, and testify the word person this evening.
I do.
State your name, association, record.
Colin Brinkman, day night sign. We're doing work for the property owner.
Okay, so this is a new proposed sign, which would be replacing an existing ground sign of a new sign, post sign, with a new post sign. That sign would be 7 feet high and 21 square feet. For 21 square feet. So the new sign would read Topiary Mansion and the media captain. Post signs are both pedestrian oriented and auto oriented and are appropriate for historic districts, for specific historic districts such as East Town Street, where homes have been converted to businesses, and in that area, the post signs have been approved in the past. So the previous sign on this property was also a post sign. It was approved in 2021. And that was a double face non-illuminated post and panel sign. So the staff recommendation is to recommend approval of application COA 2400285 and 394 East Town Street as submitted, with any and all clarifications to be submitted to HPO staff for review and approval prior to issuance of the certificate. That recommendation is based on the short north sign guidelines regarding the post sign guidelines, and that is it.
Yeah, that's just about it. There's just the existing sign there. They're having an event center in there now, so they're just trying to add a tenant to it. And then just with the existing sign being so short, I mean, that panel would be, almost touching the ground at some point. So just trying to get some leeway to increase it to 7 feet tall, so you can see it over the fence too for people driving by, just better visibility. So same design. Same design. Sorry? No, not that I'm aware of.
Is there room, are there some room to add?
Yeah, so they're like, from my understanding, the owner is adding an event space in there because I believe it was second floor, and then his media company is on the first floor.
Media companies? Is meeting?
Yes.
Move that COA 24085 at 394 East Town Street, be approved as.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second. Having a motion second.
I'm just curious, is this considered a permanent sign?
Yes, yeah.
So that is a foundation. Is it just a pole?
Oh, there's a foundation in there. Yeah, so we're gonna put it as close to that existing sign as we can with a new foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Abstention.
Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
We are going back to case number 624 East Smartwood Avenue. We here for 24 East Smartwood. Hearing none. Roll back to versus. On to case number 1085 Brighton Road. We'll spread it up, Jim, and then get your testimony from this evening.
Yes.
Yes.
You should state your full name and association.
Michael Smith, homeowner.
Amanda Smith, homeowner.
Okay, this application for 1085 Brighton Road is for slate removal. So the proposal is to replace existing slate with certainty carriage house shingles and stone bead gray from the approved shingles list. They'd also be installing new round downspouts and metal ridges and flashing around the chimney in tinner's red, and replacing damaged portions of molding and trim to match, as well as repairing and relining the box gutters. So the property includes a 2.5-story wood frame Queen Anne home with brick veneer exterior and a single-story concrete block and brick garage. So the home appears on the 1899 Big Saddles and Sanford mapping beginning in 1901. It is indicated with a non-combustible roof. There's also a garage, which appears on the 1950s and 1960s Sanford maps. And at that time noted as a dwelling with a composition or asphalt shingle roof, so that still has that now. The garage or former dwelling replaced an earlier wood frame home present on earlier Sanford mapping and base houses. So staff recommendation is to recommend approval of application COA 2400328 at 1085 Brighton Road. With any clarifications to be submitted to HBO staff for review and approval prior to issuance of the certificate. So the basis for the staff recommendation is the City Code 316.11 standards for alteration, particularly number 6, and the guidelines regarding materials, and the amendments to the City of Columbus architectural review guidelines regarding slate roofs and slip.
Anything you have to about that?
No, not at this time.
Open up for discussion. Just in general, my own comment is, I think the city's lost, but it is a back of life. Promote the house location. It's delivered down the street.
I thought so.
We had a very similar sort of roof that's probably about on this last leg of that house as well. Just it hits a point where the pitting starts on the slate. It's all very, very fast. It's this when we're sort of laminating shell.
Yeah, as homeowners, second home in Old Tenny's, first on Brighton within the district, the historic district. I mean, we value the historical aspects of it, but it's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the certainty stuff looks pretty good.
I'm not going to do with the roof, but it's a very long.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, let's see if you approve us first.
Yeah. They're on call for.
Move to send this to them.
Okay, it's motion. Second. Have a motion, second. Those in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thank you, Jacqueline, for the email.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
On to case number 8, 713 South Champion. Yeah, you raise your right hand. You swear this out, you testify for this evening.
Yes.
Associated, not for your right hand.
Timothy Ray Malone. I'm the regional install manager for Home Genius Exteriors. We are doing the renovations to the home. We're performing the re-roofing renovations to the home rather.
And this application for 713 South Champion Avenue is proposing for roof replacement. So to replace the existing asphalt shingles with new Owens Corning true definition, dimensional, and onyx black, and to replace existing bronze vents with new and install black flashing. So an application to replace slate with asphalt shingles from the approved windows list, install ridge venting and metal ridge roll was approved in 2010. The roof installation, unfortunately, at that time did not follow the approval, and some of the unapproved work was undertaken, including the installation of hat vents and cut shingle tabs on ridges. So the approved shingles list was established based on the historic use of roofing materials in Columbus, specifically the types, colors, and shapes of slate. And while no asphalt shingle exactly mimics the size, color, and texture of slate, Those on the current list are the closest we have found or been presented with to this point that matches that slate appearance. And then the standard for venting is generally that any venting be installed on the roof ridges only underneath the metal ridge hole. The proposed type and shape of the shingles proposed for the new shingles did not come on the market until about late 1970s. And so they have a wood-shaped appearance with varying sizes of the shingles. So staff recommends bringing the roofing back into code compliance to reflect the original slate roofing of the historic home with a shingle from the shingles list. And staff recommends continuing application COA 2400259 at 713 South Champion Avenue in the Willows Historic District to allow the applicant time to revise the application to better meet city code and HRC guidelines. And that recommendation is based on the city code 3116.11 standards for alteration, specifically number 6, 11, and 12, as well as the guidelines regarding roofing materials.
So yeah.
So looking at the contract and the plans that we have, it was going to be to install the architectural dimensional shingle, the Onyx Black Owens Corning, duration series shingle. We were going to, install the, ridge vents. We're going to go ridge vents required to get rid of all the hat vents. The only things we cannot get rid of are the Broan vents on the roof, as required by code for exhaust ventilation from the bathrooms and things like that. But there would be, like you see the hat vents, the silver hat vents, those will all be gone. And then the flashing on the chimney and everything's black. A gooseneck vent. So those are what you would consider a quote unquote hat vent for ventilation purposes from the attic space. A Broan vent is what all your like bathroom fans and things like that are connected to. Yes, do you see the one right behind that pipe boot right there? Yes, that would be remaining. It's that between that plumbing stack. Yep.
What's being proposed though, is not. Why did you submit something that?
So we're new to the area. So Home Genius is, we're trying to get our bearings on what we can and cannot do, truthfully.
Okay.
And we really want to be in compliance with you guys because we want to do a lot of work around here. We love the city. With that being said, I don't think that our project coordinator was aware that it was not an approved shingle. So moving forward, we would need to submit something with an approved shingle.
If you choose to basically move forward with an approved shingle,
Mm-hmm.
it's staff approval and you can.
Okay, so okay. Are there any, so we are an Owens Corning based company, right? We are a platinum preferred contractor. Are there any of the Owens Corning shingles that are on the approved list?
There is at least one Owens Corning. I'm not sure it might be the only one, but I think Adam is bringing some stuff up right now just to confirm.
We don't go by whether it's manufacturer specific, we go by them. So
Right, correct. Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's really the products that were submitted, and that list gets updated on kind of every so year, as roofing manufacturers change it.
Okay.
Makes their models, new ones that come on the market.
Right.
You can always submit an alternate one
Mm-hmm.
for our consideration. You can leave one. We can do those kind of things, but generally, I think the number one concern I think was this for here, us to mention this evening is, does it actually look like slate? The answer is the one that's submitted for that you're requesting approval on doesn't.
It's more or less like wood shake is what it mimics. The only other thing that I would say that would mimic it even close would be like a 3-tab, like estate gray.
So basically, that's on one story and standard.
Okay.
So if you were proposed to use that product, you could just go directly to Jack.
Okay. All right.
It's not about the people the last approval was.
I'm sorry. Oh, yes, ma'am. I sure did. So let me get to my next question, and I guess point is, out of full honesty and transparency, what if we've already done the roof?
Yeah, they redo it. Or this is from a blind side.
Right. So again, it's full transparency. It's us wanting to work really closely with the city of Columbus and make sure we're doing things appropriately. So the question that I have next is on the responsibility aspect of it. Would it be Home Genius's responsibility to make sure? Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. We don't want the homeowner to have any issues, right?
We just, that's an issue of having a valid that's approved with appropriate certificates.
Right. Right. And I know we did obviously get the permits that we need and all that, but, apparently we didn't use the right shingle.
Would you like us to, we can have the options of tabling this matter? We can sort it out when the shingle is off the approved, so you just work directly with staff, come up.
I think that's fair. I would, if you guys are okay with that, I would think that is fair.
One thing I just want to bring up, what is also proposed is black flashing. So the approved shingles list or our standards is usually either tin or thread or gray flashing for all metal, on the roof.
Okay, all right.
If that's okay with the applicant, then, we can stop and approve that.
Yeah, whichever one is. Okay. All right.
So there's a motion to the table.
So moved.
There's a second. Having a motion and a second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Noes, abstentions? Thank you, passes. We're just gonna work closely with Jack and make sure we.
We'll get it taken care of. One way or the other, we'll. Yeah, thank you.
Go back and check, is one that here for this one that.
I believe it was number 6, 24, or no, you already did that first time. It was number 2, 530 East 10th Street.
And we're gonna keep on our way here. Moving on to site number 988 West Royal Boulevard. And we're right. Roads over, that's my first question.
Yes,
If it's your full name, association with the property owner.
Robert Raskin, owner.
Okay, this application at 88 West Royal Forest Boulevard is proposing new fencing. So to install a 3-foot tall white picket fence along the front and side street facing yards with a 4-foot gate, and to install a 6-foot wood board privacy fence at the rear yard with 2 gates. So the property includes a 2-story Dutch colonial revival style home constructed in the early 1930s, and an existing small picket fence that extends slightly from the northwest corner of the house towards Rustic Bridge Road. It was in place by 2008 or earlier. This application is on the agenda. Normally fencing of 3-foot at the front and the 6-foot rear privacy fencing is something we can staff approve. However, the reason it's come before the commission today is because of its location of the old beach wall. So we want to have the commission discussion about the proposal. So rear privacy fence for the neighboring property, south property line of 4860 Rustic Bridge Road was staff approved in July, so that's present there. And then there's also a front picket fence present at the neighboring 68 West Royal Forest Boulevard property to the south. And that appears to have been in place sometime between 1984 and 1995. The old Beach Ball Historic District was originally listed on the register in 1985. So the guidelines generally support front yard fencing using wrought iron or wood picket fencing that is no taller than 3 feet where a fence is appropriate. The Old Beach Ball Historic District is particularly significant for its planning and landscape architecture, designed with narrow curvilinear streets with no curbs or sidewalks to achieve a natural landscape effect. There are some properties in the district where curbs and front yard fences, and certainly the front yard were installed prior to when the area was a district, or during the brief time when the district was removed from the Columbus Register. The majority of properties have retained their original design, so the commission will need to discuss if the front yard fencing is compatible in Old Beach Ball Historic District. So staff recommends approval of application COA 2400342 at 88 West Beach Ball Boulevard in the Old Beach Ball Historic District with the following conditions, and that is that the front yard fencing avoids encircling the entirety of the front yard, or landscaping is added to mitigate the visual impact of the fencing. So the basis of the staff recommendation is the City Code 316.13 standards for site improvements, specifically letters A and B, and then the guidelines regarding fencing. And that's another question.
Is there anything like?
We are relatively new to, well, we are new to this neighborhood. We just purchased the home earlier this year. We're thrilled to be in this area. We love the design of the neighborhood, which is why we wanted to be in this space. Obviously, we want to be very respectful of the history of the area. And to be totally frank, we would love to have taller fence or a little bit more privacy, but we are happy to oblige to the restrictions or the design guidelines set up, as well as mimic what is already in the neighborhood. So that's kind of why we've chosen the design of fencing that we are talking about, the 3 foot tall picket fence. We'd love to match what our neighbors have exactly, which is the picture that I showed on there, both in the front and in the back. But that fence is already on the property. So we were planning on basically coming off of that corner, going around the edge and then dying into the existing fence in the neighbor's property to mimic what is currently there already. So we think it'll add a lot of great charm to the area, but the reason we want to do it is we have a very energetic golden doodle, and he has not been responsive to the electric fences. So in order for him to utilize this beautiful big yard that we purchased, we really need to have the ability to contain him, and especially with all the deer and stuff in the neighborhood, it's going to be a struggle. So we're excited about it. One concern I might have with the segmenting off just sections of the yard is being a corner lot the way that it is the and the vegetation that's in the backyard, there's really not a ton of usable space in the backyard. So the front yard area is awesome for kids being able to play soccer and frisbee, and really us being able to utilize this space to the most of our ability is in the front of that house. So I'd hate to be able to put a fence right through the middle of it in order to be able to utilize that space and those big, beautiful trees as much as possible. So that's why we picked the design that we picked, and the layout that we picked is to utilize the existing spaces and fences that are already present, and give us our ability to be able to use this space to its full capacity. And so we appreciate your consideration.
Clarify, what's the fence?
Correct.
Okay, and then what's the first picture that we see go all the way? What's that represent?
That's the board-to-board privacy fence that we would want to do in the back. So that is an example. That is the immediate neighbors that were just board approved recently. They just recently put that fence in.
And you go to the same. So which extends or which fence that we're proposing? There's two different fences.
Yes. So I was envisioning we would come off of the right side of the garage next to the driveway where it says the 3 foot gate.
Yeah.
That would all the way around to where I have the marker, the 60 foot to be the privacy fence, and then transition to where it becomes front yard to be the 3 foot picket fence.
The transition pattern here,
Yeah,
the tall fence, down shorter fence.
correct.
That's the proposal. And then what's the duration?
That's the existing fence that's already there.
It's already.
So I think this would be my comment on this, and this trying to be consistent with other landscape plan proposals that I've had. It's very difficult to understand what is actually proposed from this graphic. I think a little bit more clear site plan will help us understand better and have it documented. And then also, I see a lot of trees out there, and just like figuring out where the actual fence alignment is to miss some of those trees, I think will be important. So I just can't tell where those are based on this plan. That's why I'm making that comment. So I think like fences are tricky on landscape architects, what I do all day. You really got to know where the alignment is on the site to make it work. Because if you pick a spot that's 8 feet back from the edge of the drive, and then you run into a tree, it just kind of ruins the whole design of it. So you really have to find the right spot on the site to make that work efficiently. So that would be my comments, just to have a little bit more refined site plan. I'm not opposed to the concept, but I think it would just help you and help us to make sure we have documentation we need.
Do you have any examples of something that you guys want to see?
So I think just going back to the first application tonight, was a really clear site plan. It's basically this, but just more information, so.
This is one.
Yeah.
If you want to add every single existing landscape piece that is on, within, hopefully a treatment, like on the trees, vegetation.
Right.
If there's anything that the proposal will be removed, then that needs to be noted too, that this exact spot, there is X thing that is going to be. And then, before you do that, our focus is on letting the trees and the children, all of those stay.
Yeah, we would not remove any landscaping. I think all the trees and everything are up on the yard. It's bringing it out around to match up with the existing fencing is all out in front of any landscaping that's there.
To answer your question directly, she can show you samples.
Yeah.
And how you transition from the tall fence to the short fence, especially since you're on a corner lot, it's kind of tricky just because it's all visible. So I think I understand how you want to do that, but just a little more clarity would be helpful for me.
Yeah, I guess I was thinking we would do it the same way that it's already there, where you basically put a post in the ground and then you switch from the tall to the short. I had a few of a preference of like sloping it down or something like that. I'd be totally open to that, but.
So this does a 90-degree turn, is that right? And then
No, it's like a 45 maybe.
okay, but you're proposing it's just a straight transition from one to the other in a straight line.
Correct.
Okay. Because I think if there is vegetation adjacent to that, and it kind of lives within some greenery, and it might, I don't know, but that would help that transition visually.
It is all, that whole back area along the, basically between us and the neighbor is all wooded.
Okay.
And there's already a fence there.
Okay.
That picket fence already runs, so basically already runs that full length of the, so we would replace their existing picket fence with that board to board fence.
We have a photo.
I believe so. That's the other side. No.
It'd be good to see what's existing.
Yeah, I think, but as I said, yeah, just the clarity of the application can be helpful, and we appreciate the attitude of wanting to do the right thing. It's hard for us to react to the proposal at the moment, just because of the, lack of detail. I do want to echo what others have already said too. If you have hired someone to do survey, maybe they could follow up as well with the tree survey. If you already have an idea of where that fence is going on, it does have visual sight line, maybe just confirming with mature tree locations that is going to work. Because that would be something that's probably start ending with trees, and you've already indicated that's not your intention.
No, we love the trees.
Help you out a little bit more, what we would be wanting to know is the detail. So extensive types of fences, the references, and pictures help, but also where exactly the transitions happen. It has to be documented, because even though you could describe things, ultimately this goes out to the field and it becomes a document that people are referring to, so when they go to inspect it, that's guaranteed data, right?
Would you guys be willing to essentially give your nod to the idea of this and then let me work with the staff to finalize the details to preserve time?
First of all, I wouldn't be comfortable because I don't think I'm seeing enough. I don't know what others think, but we need to see more detail on the application.
Well, let's just actually, before we do that, conceptually, is everybody okay with something that makes sense?
Yeah, there's a couple of details. So the section of the fence that comes off from the garage, I think it was like to be 10 inches, 3-foot gate. We have to see, first of all, where the 3-foot gate is gonna be, don't show it anywhere. Also, I can't think of any fences that we have approved that touch right on the corner of buildings. You're generally set back 2 feet, so you don't have a building and a fence sitting right there. You have it back a little bit, so that corner. That's usually the case for. And,
That would be fine with me, but the reason why I put it where it was is because it's replacing an existing fence structure there. That's already high. There's a picture of it.
It'd be different. I'm assuming there's no windows on that side. Or
Yeah.
That's the garage.
It's the garage.
Because usually we have it behind the first window, but, yeah, I see that. That's, I wouldn't call it a fence, I'd call it a fence. It's more of an open structure.
And what type of realistic? That's what we are going.
Yeah, that's what he's referring to, which in fact,
There's like a patio over there where all the trash cans sit. So I was hoping to put it there so I didn't have to dig up that patio to put the posts in. And utilizing there's a gate in that. So I was just gonna utilize that same layout. Cause I need to keep the dog in the backyard.
oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah, those are big 2-foot by 2-foot posts, basically. Maybe not that large, maybe 12 by 12, but I could climb through it if I wanted to.
I didn't set a precedence. I can't.
We simply want to table it right now, so yeah.
I mean, there may even be a, you could do a wire type. Back 3 feet or something. I mean, that's actually a nice one.
It's beat up pretty bad.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. And it's not in good condition. The gate hardly works, unfortunately.
That's just, I think I was speaking. Should be nice if you give enough support, and I would say, these are the things that are kind of there. And then, you know, with that, right? So it is a really clarification, but I'm not really.
Yeah, so like, I would say, if you go back to the site plan, but I would want to see.
Yeah, mind if I take notes?
Yeah.
And it didn't was Jackie, we'll start going down, so.
I can see it.
Sorry about that.
Yes, so I think like, if I was to review this literally, you would have 2 straight line segments of fence along a curving roadway, which I'm assuming that's not really what you're proposing. So it's just showing like where in relationship to the edge of your property line does that fence sit, and how does it work with existing vegetation that's out there?
With some precision.
Yeah, yes. So does it sit 6 feet back or 4 feet back, and show that on that alignment? And then delineate with some sort of symbology or a color or something, which type of fence is which. And how they come together and where your gates are. And then you might want to note the demolition of the other fence as part of that plan as well, if that's what you're proposing.
With documentation, what is this?
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I think my comments are just like clarifying exactly what the proposal, it's not really a concept issue.
Okay, learning curve, my lab was replacing that with the fences, you know, upper, this one. We have that in addition, we have.
Yeah, we we're doing a couple of, one, now we're also doing demolition. demolition that I didn't but I look at it the other way. You're end up with three fences. This one, the closed one, that's the well, one of the issues I was working with is allowing fence to get right on the corner. We never about that. We've almost always, we've often required. But we have at the time allowed better, you know, so it would be efficient.
I feel like it's been about 5 setback.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's if he demolishes and starts over. If he takes the existing lots, that's it up with something and keeps it on in, but doesn't change the fundamental structure on us. That worry.
Repairs someone, yeah. It's more.
This is the big thing I'm trying to demolish.
Right, that we're not saying precedence.
Right. So 2 options. Can't do the one way you want. And then the other stuff is level of documentation, so what exists. There, we need stuff on the plan, we also need, we need the whole picture of how big the, for the existing stuff, or just those. The tree planting, we just need that new stuff, right?
Existing, I don't think it's any new.
Right, so do we need that whole schedule?
I think just, yeah, on the plan, if you could show like, hey, there's a 36-inch diameter tree hitting right here and your fence either go in front of that or behind it. That's really what we're. Yeah, because ultimately, like, we don't want to see a fence doing this, sneaking its way through your existing trees, right? And then I presume that's not what you're proposing, but
Right.
that'll help us just understand exactly where that line is.
Would you prefer to see the fence follow the line of the road or be straight lines?
So follow the line. Yeah. And that's, because that's what you're gonna see when you're looking at the fence, is that line of the road.
You have indicated, existing picket fence, then you have several pictures of existing picket fence. A little unclear, but I said that one with the neighbor, or is this one that we're seeing, is that the existing one that's noted in the drawing?
There's both. There is an existing picket fence on the property as well as the neighbor has
Which one is the existing picket fence on the property?
that one.
That one is, yeah.
You can use the exact same style.
Yeah, they're the same, actually. The posts are a little different. I assume we would use the posts that match the one that are on the property.
So again, to you, picture is still existing.
What is the transition of that is in the styles? They don't to me, but curious what others think.
I think that's dependent on psychologists and whether where he started to pick up that 6-foot fence working out of the house. So as long as that transition isn't impeding the continuous nature of the fence in front, we put fence in front, I think it's too much of an issue for me.
The driveway,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're getting at. Then I look at this particular picture, wow. I guess it's been permitted in the neighborhood before, even though this does look like a back corner. It doesn't look like it's the front freestanding. So I think it was just part of it. So again, that's. Because I think this one has a better case. With the BM 45 in the back there. Where it's 2.9.
Do we have a recommendation for what you would prefer to see?
I would say it's the same style. How do you know?
Say it again, I'm sorry.
Same style.
So picket fence all the way back?
Yeah, it's just me.
3 foot.
Are
Are you suggesting the same would be
3 foot if you want, you can, I just can.
Is that a-
It's still said, but if you did have a more than 6 feet, something that matches.
I wonder,
The transition was meant in order to follow the guidelines laid out in the historic book.
Right.
with the 6 foot run from the back of the house or back of those property lines. And then in, I think that 30 foot building line, that's the living line, and that's where the transition happens.
I'm sorry.
So. You're proposing your system that's here
Yep. As well as where the dimension line is, the 60 foot too.
to here.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond your 30 foot building line.
Yeah, I wanted to keep it like, I'll make sure I kept it in the backyard. And then everything that could be considered front or side yard was picket fence.
Right, so you still have about 40 feet before you can see that 6 foot fence.
Correct. And that's all like, there's thick foliage
Yeah.
along that property line. Yeah, you really can't see, obviously from the pictures, you can't see it.
Like right here.
Correct,
You're-
yeah.
You're not, you know, being on the adjacent house.
No.
Right.
Good.
I think that transition will be disguised by a lot of vegetation, which is why I'm asking about context, but I
Right.
just show where that, I think, to me, that is okay, personally.
It looks dark.
Yeah.
I agree, once we see the foliage, then the bigger the fence will dead end into the foliage. And that. It's, I think a lot of us are just like not seeing any trees on there, it's like big lawn, high fence, a low fence. Thing. Okay. Yeah, if we see some foliage there, that's great.
Any other issues you guys see with the plan we're proposing? Well, you can tell. But to me, it feels like it's more of a documentation concern than a actual plan concern.
Assuming that they, makes sense.
Okay. It makes sense to me. I don't know. You guys can't figure it out.
You have good answers to your questions.
Okay.
And then the next slight setback, where the fence is at the corner of the house.
Right on.
So I guess the other moral of the story here might be is that we can voice a document, set of documentation drawings. If that was speaking, feel it's adequate, made, which the staff approval, but that's dependent on.
Let's be fast, because the due date, there's, well, yeah.
Okay.
You know, the due date for the next hearing is the 25th, which is October 25th, Friday.
So if you guys are giving me a continuation, does that mean I just need to show up to the next meeting with documentation?
Yeah, just have to coordinate with Jack about getting onto each item, so they're just.
Gotcha. But the 25th would be the cutoff for the business meeting.
For the next hearing, so business meeting is just in advance of the hearings, they kind of go together. So the 25th would be for the November meetings, and then if you needed more time, you can submit at a later time for later meetings.
So, sorry, just for clarity. The 25th would be to get in for the business meeting, but I would be able to submit slightly after that to be able to get for next month's for this meeting.
No, so that submission deadline is for the November hearing. The business meeting is just a meeting that occurs a few weeks before and help kind of facilitate that hearing. So that is for the November, any November meetings is October 25th.
Sure.
Joe, but Commissioner, was just highlighting. This, it looks to me, we might say that Jack.
Excellent. Understood.
Clear motion to continue.
So moved.
There's motion, is there a second? I'll second. Having motion second, and third. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Thank you.
On to case number 11, 1651 Ryan Road.
You've heard some of it, it's just the name.
I do.
It's safer only when associated with property.
Brian Collins, I'm the architect and contract.
Great.
Okay, this application is for new construction as well as landscape and hardscape. So the proposals for a new garage, which would be a 24 by 32 foot wood frame, 2-car garage facing the alley, prints many materials. The trim and corner boards proposed would be either wood or boral. They'd be installing a new cedar trellis attached to the north elevation of the garage, which is located at the rear yard area. They would also be installing a new patio, which would be a 26 by 15 foot paver patio. And that would have a 3-foot wide paver walkway with built-in pavers, also shown in the submitted materials. So an application to construct a new addition, a new dormer, and a new concrete stoop, egress attic windows, 2nd-story porch siding, and new windows to replace existing vinyl and removal of decking was approved at the July 2023 hearing. So just if the building looks familiar, we have seen application for different items. So staff recommends just any trim via wood and use of split-based concrete block or other more decorative masonry material for the foundation to meet the guidelines. The staff recommendation is to recommend approval of application COA 2400356 at 1651 Brighton Road with the following conditions, and that's just any trim or corner boards be wood and then a foundation split-based block or other more decorative masonry. So the staff recommendation is based on the Columbus or the guidelines for garages and outbuildings, as well as for patios and decks, and the city code 316.13 standards for site improvements, specifically letters A and B, and the city code 316.12 standards for new construction.
Sure. Everything that they said is fine. The only, I guess, concern I would have in going to split face, that actually is the perfect drawing for it. I've got a pretty good slope into the alley. So what's going to happen is I'm going to drive in at a lower elevation and step up inside the garage. So the sidewalls of my garage are going to act as a retaining wall. I'm going to have to waterproof them. So being split face on the sides will make it hard for me to achieve that. If we go to the next one that shows the alley face, by the other way, up there. Like if that's split face, that doesn't really concern me because it's not actually having to stop water infiltration. And if you go to the site plan, there'll be retaining walls on the side of the either side, like basically hitting the property lines, just to address the fact that grade is that much higher. So that would be the only comment, that in trying to achieve the waterproofing component of that, it might be hard on the sides and in the north face to go to split face. And you won't really see it on those elevations. You're only going to have like that 4-inch strip on those elevations. On the alley side, you'll see more of it.
Yeah, I certainly see your point, and I don't really see a need to change material. So well.
I could break at the wall. So like I'm going to have a wall, and then it's going to come out of the ground. So I can put the smooth side to my what I need to keep waterproofed, and I can transition there. But again, if we go to smooth everywhere, that's great. But I'd be concerned with trying to waterproof, how I'm going to accomplish that. I'm assuming we're going to do some kind of a liquid applied waterproofing like you would on a basement, because I will have to stop the water infiltration on that 2 feet of wall that's showing inside the garage.
Right.
So what are you thinking? So just allowing an exception to space in this case?
The 2 garages that are, there are pictures that are down the street from us, they're just smooth. They look like they're new. I don't know if they were approved. But so the green one there, and then the next one that the door is up on, both of those, they do not sit out of the ground. So, but they are smooth.
I mean, would you prefer to do the base on the alley side?
No, I'd prefer to just stay smooth, but I can. I'm only talking a limited area at that point, so.
Yeah,
I think it would look good with the split face to the alley side. I'm not opposed to that part of it. It's just, my concern is the waterproofing part of the rest of the building.
Okay, let's do that then. I definitely agree with the other one, especially to the general season.
That's, on the side, you will not. On the alley side, you will. You'll see about 2 feet of it. So
You're right. It's gonna be a little wall, there's. Okay.
that shows basically where the walls would go to either side.
Yeah.
I'm pitching, I'm on a slope like this too, going down that hill, so.
Yeah, I can see by the steps on the front line, that's.
Pretty much, yes. Yeah, given an look at the elevations here, it looks like if the terrain is accurate,
It's not,
could be a pretty nice.
it's, so if you, there is a picture shot from the alley that kind of shows you the slope. So that's the other side of the street. So that one, see where it says alley view of proposed location of new garage. So you can kind of see if you zoom, that's the hill that I'm going to be going up into. See how the slope is? So it's approximately 2 feet at the center is what I'm looking at. So I'm going to have to.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from the photos, but it's not going to hard one to draw.
Okay.
But I think it's three. So. There. Okay, this is what I'm curious about. What is this right here?
That's my retaining wall.
So there is an existing retaining wall, or?
We're going to create a retaining wall so I can level everything out. So my garage isn't going to do this, it's going to do this. So I have to basically control my grade to get myself. That would be what we're talking about, being split face versus being concrete block.
Okay, so I was just thinking that we were talking about this.
I would do that. In what I just proposed, the part that is in section, the side you see would be split face. The little return where the downspouts coming would be split face, and then the face of the garage would be split face. So where you see all the block on, yes, that. In the landscaping, there'll have to be retaining wall there, yes.
I think that we do.
Yeah, once we get into engineering, I'll have a detail on it, it'd be fun.
For approvals, I think we need to see a modified version of these little extensions. Yeah.
Okay, I could add that in pretty quickly.
I would like to make sure we have.
The site plan shows where they would be.
This is a very essential site.
It'll be, no, that's fine. Right now, it slopes. It's just the ground slopes out of the backyard. There's a fence on it. So.
And what would you, so you're gonna have, it's gonna be CU, it's a couple of courses high, what's the top?
Have to be a CMU cap. Yeah. So the split face, they have a solid that you can do, and it's like a 4-inch instead of a 8-inch. So it doesn't have the same exact, it's not just a solid block, it looks like it's a cap. So that.
And this retaining wall then dead into the fence on each side, is that what I'm saying?
Correct. And we have a fence there too, like that's the intent would be that we have a fence line there too as well. That we've.
Yeah, just extend your elevation.
Sure, I can do that.
All the retaining wall and then. Put that fence.
That's fine.
What was intended to be built.
Yeah.
That means doing that, right?
It would have to be, because it's not, we're gonna probably kill most of the fence trying to get the excavation in, but it's not gonna be at the right elevations for where the wall ends up.
Sure.
Yeah, so it
So
would,
property's like the property line here.
sure.
Your extent or there's a break line.
I can just add a drawing that kind of shows that, that's fine.
Yeah, and just to go back to the site plan, so the fence is on the other property, is that right? So it's on the south.
So it shows the fence line there. See there's an existing 6-inch or 6 foot on either side. They're not identical. Like, I don't think.
But you're showing that line work on the outside of your property.
It comes across our wall too, correct. Which if I showed the elevation of the retaining wall, it would show the fence too. But they return back to the garage.
So just to clarify, your building, all the fencing shown on this plan
Yes, it's returning back on both sides. If you look at the,
So that would just move your fence and line work up into your property, just to clarify that.
but those are existing. So one is sitting on the neighbor's property line.
Okay.
And then if you see at the bottom, it does return back.
Right.
And then the other one, I believe, is sitting slightly on ours and it returns back. So we would be closing the backyard. But to answer, if I showed the elevation, it would show the fence too. Sure.
Yeah.
That's easy.
I would feel comfortable that this evening we move with an approval for consideration of approval for the drawing. Not approving to this sort of thing, all just until we receive.
Mhm.
It would just be
Some serious.
Sure.
Litigation on retaining walls.
Yeah, and if you're proposing any landscaping as well, that needs to be on the plan, so maybe you're
At
not.
this point, we're not. We're just hardscaping.
So-
I mean, he probably will do landscaping at some point, but we're wrapping up the renovation of the house and his fiance brought up the fact that she doesn't have anywhere to park. So now we're doing the rest.
Note that is lawn or whatever the ground plane material is.
Sure, it's long.
Yep.
Yep,
Okay,
that's
so just
easy.
note that on the plan, so we.
Can I just ask,
I was gonna say, how are we still on, I don't know, do we hang around split face versus?
We from the garage, I think we're from the outside.
Yeah, what you see a lot of, you'll have split face, what you only see like the 4 inches, that way I can waterproof it.
Maybe in follow up with any approval tonight, follow up with the drawing, staff that shows where it's sort of based on that.
Yeah.
It's not just the record.
That's easy.
Again, inspectors, sure.
Mhm.
And then, we ship the retaining wall approval, just until we get details,
Do you want me to come back to the meeting?
just get the staff.
Okay.
and
I won't need the COA until I have all of the building drawings to submit anyway, so that's fine. I should get that as soon as the engineer starts rolling and stuff. That's fine.
All right, for COA 2400356, 1651 Verdon Road.
It's in your.
Sorry. Approve, the new build, the new build garage and, site plan with the new patio with the, exception that any drawings dealing with the split face and retaining wall will then, be brought up to staff for.
The motion, sorry,
Seven.
having motions, that comes back there.
yes, I just have two questions. One, if the commission is comfortable then if staff reviews the retaining wall, or do we want the retaining wall to come back to the commission?
Yeah, yes. Okay.
So let's get the concept of retaining wall here.
I just didn't see documentation of my.
Sure.
No, no, I'm not on staff. Okay.
You want it in the packet? Yeah. So-
Also, just for record, maybe the film record. This is due. Existing grade condition. Classes on elevator. Yeah. Again, we have so many requests for retainings.
So one other question, so the fencing, I just want to clarify for replacement fencing, would this all be within the property, your property boundaries?
The 2 sections that we will be doing will be in our property and they'll match the sections. I'll get detail on it and see. They're not the same, so I'll have to see what we do to deal with that.
So that's the revised drawings.
Yes, I'll put it in the revised drawing. That was part of the request. They're slightly different. So they're both wood, they're both 6 foot, but they're not, I don't believe they're the same. There's they might be in the pictures there, but I'll make sure I get detail on it. So I don't want to say they're the same. And like I said, I think one is the neighbors and one is my clients. So
So to amend the motion, we're going to also add the existing,
fencing and detailing of how you're going to return those into the existing fencing on either side.
Sure.
With the inclusion, I'm going to also add a note that the lawn is supposed to be noted where the location of grass is on the site. Okay. Yep, okay, second. All right, so, and that is all to be accepted.
So, that's a full second. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, abstention, passes.
Thank you.
Vote staff.
Yep, yeah, I'll get it through. That's it. Thank you.
Moving on to case number 12. Yeah.
Yes.
The state full name associated property.
Sean McAllister. Property is 219 Riverview Park Drive, Columbus, Ohio.
You are.
Sean McAllister.
Yeah.
Oh, architect. Yeah, sorry. Sean McAllister. I got you.
Okay, so this application for 219 Riverview Park Drive, conceptual application involving demolition, new construction, and landscaping. So for demolition, the applicant is proposing to remove existing wood carport, which does not appear to be historic. There's also tree removal, so proposed removal of 2 existing trees. And for new construction, to construct a new 24 by 24 foot 2-car garage at the rear of the property. And that garage would have hardy siding and roofing shingles to match the shingles on the main home. So the property includes a 2-story wood frame English cottage style home with stone veneer, and a wood carport is present at the rear of the property. No record of the wood carport is on file, but that carport does not appear to be historic. There is an existing gravel driveway in place. Gravel driveways are not permitted by zoning throughout the city of Columbus, so the building and zoning department may require the driveway to be addressed. As driveways are required to be a hard surface to meet zoning requirements for the city code 3312343 for approved surface required. So the current roofing on the main house was installed without a certificate of appropriateness for building permits sometime between 2019 and 2021. An application for asphalt roofing was approved in 1998 for GIF slate line with metal ridge roll. The roofing installation at that time did not install metal ridge roll, although outlined on a certificate of appropriateness. So staff received an inquiry regarding new roofing in April 2019. However, an application was never submitted. Sanford mapping, however, indicates that the roofing was historically a combustible roof, such as wood shakes. So the commission may need to decide if dimensional shingles and wood shake style is appropriate for the proposed garage, assuming that they will match the wood shake style roof method. The staff recommends obtaining preliminary feedback from the building and zoning department to confirm if the driveway will meet city zoning requirements, and that the overall proposal will also meet zoning requirements. And installation of 2 single overhead garage doors, or documentation if there is a site condition such as a very narrow alley affecting the turning radius, as well as that corner boards and trim feet width. This is a conceptual application, so the overall staff recommendation is that the commissioners offer design feedback that can be utilized by the applicant to further refine the proposal for review in a future HRC meeting, and so no action is required. The basis for the staff recommendation are the guidelines regarding garages and outbuildings, as well as the city code regarding approved surface required, city code 316.13 standards for site improvements, specifically letter A, and the city code standards for demolition, 3116.14, and the standards for new construction, city code 3116.2. That will turn over to the commission.
Comments.
I mean, you can see the carport, it's junk and the deck's junk too. So it's, both of them are.
Anything regarding, so the staff slide, we have proposed a single door as opposed to a big garage, this kind of certainly just have 2 separate doors.
Okay.
On the garage. Feedback on what would be the circumstances that would be there.
I can do two doors. Okay.
I think it would be interesting to hear the commission's take. I kind of side with a little bit of my gravel driveways and obviously there's a choice in the neighborhood. perfectly fine as far as. Yeah, and I don't know if we want to sort of go on file the record as saying like, we're okay with that, not wait for service.
Also, environment is. So what you said, it's also environment is sustainable to Stan City has used. If it's appropriate, yeah.
I think I'm just, we can message that, but rather than just trying to implement that to appropriate.
Yeah, to me, it looks like that was a intentional choice. There's a, it's like a type of gravel that was selected and there's an edge to it. So
We can certainly include our support, just a heads up, zoning may require the service with this, it's existing condition, but there's a lot of gravel.
They don't even seek a, but the applicant seek a variance to keep gravel.
I'm not sure, so that might be an option, just ask building and zoning department if a variance could be obtained to obtain that.
Because I think this should be support from that.
So I see that the 3 trees being removed. One, I see that it's with the new structures that I'm on.
Mhm. Well, the one's pretty close to the garage.
Or can the ground be moved slightly over so we will, where this is going is that we need to use mature trees, and those trees look like they mature. And we can understand the one that's exactly smack in the middle of the ground, the two.
I mean, I could probably move, I'll have to double check, but there's gonna be some maneuvering potentially, but I can try to move it forward and just save that one. But the one's definitely like right in the middle.
yeah,
Well, yeah, there are two that are moving.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think it's important to show how big those trees are, because the roots on those.
They're like 21-inch diameter, if I remember right.
Yeah, so you, so
So there
you're,
can't be a, you might be surveyed that much, but it knows it's just not the same. Correct.
Yeah.
it's possible, so that's part of my comment is like, are there walkways to the garage that need to be built? Are there things that you're gonna heal in the garage into the landscape, like lawn area or other planting things? So just, how does this tie back into the house?
Okay.
So it's same kind of comment, site plan documentation.
And I think the reason the garage is there is because she doesn't want to put the garage where things are now because it just blocks everything. So, I could talk to her and there's probably gonna be a paver patio maybe, and I gotta find out what she wants to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. 2 trees.
Yeah.
What's the options?
Okay.
Right.
Plant 2 new trees and they're somewhere else.
Yeah, I still think there's a way to position the piping. I'm not sure, but there's a way to position the ground where you can say that these 2 trees are.
Okay.
And
Maybe like,
Hmm.
then you.
Oh, okay.
so really for, record here, conceptual review. We're amenable to removal of 1 tree and demolition of this part. Just
Yeah.
sorting the pieces out of this. 2, we're supportive of a variance and or routine system gravel drive. Really great, definitely.
I feel like there's other gravel drives around there too, for some reason.
There's also for Columbus.
Yeah.
Some of them have been they've been there before, or they've been added without approval. It's, I think, a constant thing with zoning. Once people come in, then they have to address it. I'm not sure if there's a various option, but that could be something that you can say.
It's support that, I think.
Could I add to that? So I think it would be helpful if there was some additional documentation that is a designed roadway, right? So it's not just like they laid gravel down on the, to create the driveway. Yeah, or a limestone like screenings down, yeah.
Let's say there's no design per se. So is it just historically it's been, is that?
Yeah, it's more photo documentation, yeah.
Then the third thing is, or the third or fourth thing is would be that you're amending these garage and sheet work instead of.
Right.
Yeah, and the landscape plan go along with that.
Okay. Like how landscape plan was type of tree that we're planning to replace the other one. Pavers, any bushes, things like that.
Right.
Okay.
So what happens between where the garage is going
gotcha.
and where that's back into existing condition? Is it lawn, is it ground cover, plantings, et cetera?
Okay. Okay.
Is it your hope, by the way, Jacqueline, that you would like us to comment on what the roof shingles scenario, even though that's not part of this application?
Yes, so the shingles, they're proposed to match the shingles on the home, so I presume that those would be the similar, wood shake style shingles. Interestingly, in this case, the home does have some documentation that historically it might have had a wood shake shingle, so it could be appropriate. And it could be appropriate for the garage.
I want to say it's this district that I recall the Rainy Blackface, I would have. Like, we had, I think it was this district, we did have some, where we had a exception because of the wood shakes. Whereas, or just house that historically it would have been more appropriate to have a wood shake. I mean, I guess some of the architects feel or others feel about this being not exactly the.
So he's proposing to actually see that exists about. It was not uniform, so, I agree that the match is better. And we don't want to do this test case, and the reason for the test case is because of the possibility that this was the change and with wood shake shingle, therefore we are testing the shingle for possible future inclusion to replace others on the shake shingles. Shingles are, my understanding, more, almost no right after that is on there. But I think we could build a case that was.
That's always there.
Yeah, but we need to be careful so that, and I think the key here is that the evidence that it was a change. So therefore, I think we have.
Make sure that the have evidence is on here. You know, push.
Question on the little carriage lane, the garage is fine, otherwise it's our pretty big. It's this little carriage lane up there, we get the main house, I don't see any type of a detail like that. The house, part of it looks like kind of modern, letter with the door. Why would choose carriage?
Honestly, there was no thought put into it. I mean, it's just, honestly.
I would think that through a little bit.
Okay.
What you really want there.
You guys probably want to cut sheet. Okay. Like,
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There is a landscape light. I was looking at the Google image, which I don't know, get maybe that's a little bit more on it, so what's being proposed. That's what I want to see.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is round one here, so, but give that a little.
Okay.
Just so that, well, I'm going to sort of, follow that very well. So. Otherwise, the, smaller. And the man door on there is.
Probably a composite door. I can come up with a spec for it.
Yeah, you may want to think, which there would be a panel door. I like the fact that we made it was from the main house.
I'll just say for composite, I think we recommend smooth as opposed to a faux green texture. And then garages, smooth steel doors can also be supported as well as wood.
this, but. This is the garage being supposed to be built in the same footprint.
Mhm. Yeah, she,
Straight off driving.
yeah, she doesn't, basically, she didn't, if she puts a garage there, because the carport I think is only 16 by 16 or somewhere in that range.
Okay.
So if she puts the garage there, it's blocking the view from the house. So,
Is the little dotted line that we're seeing on the site plan, is that where the existing one is now?
yeah, the carport and then the deck is the odd shape.
Yeah. it is. I guess one other thought, I was curious around the. I just heard, the view from the street right now has no garage. But the new condition is going back to garage. It'll be in the distance, so maybe that,
Why didn't you do the garage kind of around the corner there? Back and forth?
You mean,
All the way to the bottom.
well, basically, you mean, why didn't I move it further back? Or
Yeah, that's curious.
trees, honestly?
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. That's the only, I mean, I think she originally wanted it further back, but I had a feeling, taking out trees is not good.
That'd be well.
Yeah, so,
I don't know. Rules of this. Why even demolish any trees that you can fit it where it exists?
because it just totally blocks the back, like,
But it always was that, something will.
yeah, but the one that's there now is like low. It's like a,
you're talking about preserving this one, go back here. This is here back, is what you're trying.
yeah, she wants to have some area there, which next time I'll show some patios, but
And I get that, but it's always wrong to, our users' preference versus what's right. Or reviews, I don't know, the kind of judging her choice.
mhm.
But is that,
Well, if I put the garage there, she really doesn't have much of an opportunity for a patio. So, because the kitchen and dining is on that little setback area. It's an old deck that has moss all over it and it's pretty dilapidated.
the big lead on the sand, but then that was looked at and still, something.
Does the adjacent house, I'm sorry, does the adjacent house have a garage in the back?
On the site plan, see where that little turn is? There's a real old dilapidated garage right up on the property line.
Okay. It might be helpful to just show that.
Okay.
Generally for some context.
I was looking at one of Google Maps and actually the neighbor has a garage. Exactly this scenario is correct, so. Even closer.
Yeah, I think it has a flat roof and everything. It looks pretty old too.
You say the 2 trees. You're gonna try to see if you can move it in the structure slightly forward.
Yeah, definitely. So it's only one tree.
I'll overstate the trees, but realistically, we don't promise we can't tell because we don't see the other trees on the lawn, so we can't see.
Well, then-
Choice.
Yeah, there's a lot of trees back there.
Is that giving you enough feedback then?
Yeah. Yeah, yep.
Are you just mentioned there's a lot of trees.
Like even towards the back. I'm not showing all the trees in the back.
Further.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they're like tall, some of them are tall pine.
But it's a footprint of the garage, if you're after.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna look at moving it forward a bit and then just taking the one tree out.
Okay. Yeah.
Any further thoughts? Otherwise, this is just conceptual and that's it, we're going down.
Thanks for coming there.
Yeah, so it has to be in by the 25th for the next meeting.
Yeah,
Right.
the November agenda would need to be notified.
And then I'll do just the regular application, because I think you pick conceptual or,
Yeah, you can make requests for
Okay.
action at that point, however, if you feel comfortable that you're ready for action.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
And going backwards now to application number 253 East Sound Street, application number 624 East Northwood. We would have a motion to continue those. Or
So there might be one that we could potentially approve if the commission feels comfortable. So basically, I'll jump to number, I think it's 6.
number 6. Okay.
So this is the 24 East Northwood Avenue property. An application had come before the commission previously back in June, and that was to install a parking pad with pavers. Now, the applicant, due to getting the pavers in timely manner or some sort, they want to instead just repave with asphalt parking. There is currently asphalt parking there, but because the commission had already approved the parking pavers, this is coming back for commission review just to make sure that the commission is okay with this. And so if the commission is comfortable, we could potentially move to approval without the applicant, otherwise we can continue for some questions that or discussion needed.
Just basically retaining less stripe road there right now.
Yeah, I mean, please can say it's.
That's what it is.
Ready for install for that, and then we go to the last.
There a second?
Second.
5 and 7. Okay, that's the second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Abstention, motion passes. Okay, so that then just leaves case number 2, and we can.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a change of use from a residential event center to an addiction treatment center. So no exterior alterations are proposed to the building or site. So just depending on the commission, if you're comfortable with recommending in absence of the applicant, or if you would prefer to have the applicant come before for discussion.
There are no changes.
No exterior changes.
It's a recommendation to grab this time, so.
Correct. So this would be a recommendation on their official zoning change of use.
What happens if we don't make it? But I mean, do they still do they still make the change?
They are supposed to have some sort of recommendation, whether that's in the affirmative or not recommending, and then I believe zoning, and then if it goes to city council, sometimes either or both parties will take the recommendation into consideration.
And just that I will not see no physical change.
Correct, yeah.
What was this about this?
Yeah,
So there's some prior applications for that particular property. I'll flip to it to make sure I got the right vote here. Let's see. Okay, so one of the prior approvals was for a neon sign, that was back in 2020. So that's just for context. They're not proposing any new signage now. And there's also a change of use for the same property approved last year in January 2023.
what is that?
That was for converting an office space to an event center and catering facility. So that was recommended by the commission.
On what basis do we put it in there?
I would say just if things fit with the city code and guidelines that we normally review, if there's any concerns that the change of use will affect or not meet the city code or guidelines, then we could certainly not make a positive recommendation.
What if it's not a change, what if it's not a change of use of the actual situation of the building?
So I would keep, things, if we prefer to have an applicant come in for discussion.
I'm not suggesting that, I'm saying, I'm just.
Yeah.
Because the question was, what is the basis of that?
Mhm.
Now the question is, let's say that hypothetically, that stuff that we would never approve, we then take the opportunity to those 7 hours. That's too much.
So do you mean, for like maintenance items or items that have been done over time that we wouldn't support today? I'd say you could make some comments for that. You probably should, like, I don't think we could base a recommendation on past stuff unless it's like a recent, code violation within the past couple of years. Yeah.
So we have no real basis to say that.
Well, we can also make a position of instead of saying a recommending, just say a, we have no exception. Or we do not take a position, it's not a yes, but it's not.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's.
What change of use would be opposed? That's the question.
To me, we're not planning and zoning board. So,
We are recommending
yeah, but we're recommending, right, the basis, if there's no physical change, nothing material changes still.
I think the real is does the change of use impact the historical context of the district? It's not usual property, it's district.
Yeah, but I, again, to your point, I don't think we have no questions for that. I mean, this is going to be a lot of, I am an understand, and you're probably thinking differently than I am. I mean, so if you make the health component, I have no problem with this facility, with the treatment center. You may not agree. I'm just, there's no code, there's nothing.
It's only against recommendations, not approval.
Right. So I have your stance with some weird people, or not people, whatever. Yes, I know, like, how do we?
I think it's a neutral, essentially a neutral position rather than an one recommendation.
Well, we could continue since, to have the applicant come in, just.
Well, so yours might be, not, I don't want the applicant to spend their time coming here, they're gonna have the same discussion with them, they don't want to be able to tell us on what basis to make a recommendation, positive or negative.
Can we actually just aim for next meeting, get guidance on how we are supposed to review?
Yes.
Change of use from council, I guess, and how, I mean, what is the?
That's very useful, everyone's time for having that, can say the same thing out.
But I mean, this, we do get other change of uses, so it's just giving this body better clarity on what we're supposed to do, rather than, it's not specific to this case, I guess.
Yeah, because in the past, when it's changed, it normally comes with a post, we need an extra door, or we need a ramp, and then we have to start about that. You know, I think you set up like your use now from, all say, becoming housing. It's not that.
So maybe we should get clarity, it's not on the applicant, it's about the clarity on the recommendation position.
But do we want to make a recommendation, maybe rather than,
Clarity, maybe with them.
maybe having from a business meeting?
Yeah, right, we can just take action on this.
We have to take a minute, how we want. Do that.
Sure. Well, I think this was the last time. Is there any other items, new business?
Not really any items on the agenda. We do have a new commissioner who has been officially confirmed by city council. So we're looking forward to that commissioner probably joining us for next month.
Yeah.
So that any form or
No, it's still a minimum of 5, so that 51% basically is just more than half.
We can make a motion, let's say.
Oh, to continue.
No, it's both of you taking that.
Yes.
Second.
Second, for discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, abstentions. And then have further rights, new business, for old business, aside from the reach update. And move to adjourn. The mover. Second. Having motion second, we are, here, this 1 p.m.